I finished 30 cruises, and here is my advice to first timers. All right, so I've been on 30 cruises now, and I've spent over 150 days out at sea, and I've got to tell you, in that time, I've seen first cruisers make the same mistakes over and over again. Honestly, they're costly, they're stressful, and I've seen people miss the ship, get hit with crazy surprise charges, and just not get the vacation they were dreaming about. So in this video, I'm gonna give you my 30 essential tips, one for every cruise I've taken, to make sure your first cruise is just fantastic. So let's start with the one mistake that can end your whole trip before it even gets going. Arrive the day before. This has recently been on the news. A family got stuck in traffic and literally watched the ship pull out of port. This could have been avoided if they just arrived one day before. Flight cancellations and delays could cost you your entire trip, so don't risk it. If at all possible, arrive the night before at the minimum. My second tip is use a birth certificate for closed loop cruises. If you're a US citizen and your cruise is what they call a closed loop cruise, which means it starts and ends in the same US port, like a round trip from Miami to the Caribbean and back to Miami, a lot of times you don't actually need a passport. Your birth certificate, and for adults a photo ID, will get you on the ship. The concerns that arise here, however, is in case there's a medical emergency in a foreign country, things could get problematic, so you don't want that. Birth certificates will work to get you on the ship, but a passport is better. While passport cards are possible, a passport book doesn't cost too much more and allows more flexibility to cover if you want to fly internationally or have to fly internationally. My third tip is understand what's included in your fare. This is probably the single most important thing to wrap your head around to keep your budget in check. So your cruise fare, which includes your cabin, of course, also includes your meals at the main dining room and any other venue that is deemed complimentary by the cruise line. For beverages, it includes water, iced tea, regular coffee, milk. Some cruise lines have also included juice and flavored waters in machines that are found in the buffet. Most shows and entertainments are included, but some things like bingo, casino, and certain experiences do cost extra. Important, of course, the cabin that you choose is included. What's not included: alcoholic beverages, soda unless you're sailing Disney or Virgin Voyages, Wi-Fi or internet unless you're on Virgin Voyages, shore excursions, specialty restaurants, gratuities, and some cruise lines charge fuel supplements. And also, unfortunately, the medical center is not included. So knowing this before you go prevents that sticker shock before you get your final bill. My fourth tip is pack a carry-on with your first day essentials. So you get to port, you're going to hand off your suitcases to the porters. And I'm not going to lie, you're not going to see those till later that evening. So what you're going to want to do is pack a carry-on. In that carry-on, I'd put medicine, important documents, which are passports, boarding passes, medical documents as needed, and any other document pertaining to your situation. You're going to want to pack a swimsuit if swimming quickly is important to you. Sunscreen, don't pack this through the airport though. You're going to want to do that separately. Phone chargers are also important. This way you can go straight to the pool deck instead of just waiting around the ship hoping your bags arrive. My fifth tip is don't overpack. I'm not gonna lie, cruise ship cabins are a little on the smaller side, so you don't need 5 formal outfits and a dozen pair of shoes. Most cruise lines these days are pretty casual. Just pack a few versatile things that you can mix and match. A lot of ships also have laundry rooms, that way if you really have to wash things, you can. My sixth tip is the muster drill is mandatory. Before the ship can go anywhere, every single person has to do the safety briefing.
Once again, the captain requests all guests who have not completed your self-muster process to do so at this time. And all guest services will be suspended during the safety briefing.
They call this the muster drill. It is required by international law and must be completed, and you must follow all ship's protocols. You don't want another Titanic, so just do the safety drill. You're going to want to know where the lifeboats are if it's absolutely needed. Learn the lingo. Forward, aft, port, starboard. It sounds a little complicated, but it's actually really simple. Forward is the front of the ship, aft is the back, and when you're facing forward, port is on your left, starboard is on your right. I'm telling you, it makes getting around these massive ships so much easier. Pro tip here, on Norwegian, look at the carpet. There's fish, and if they're swimming forward, you're going forward. On Virgin voyages, port room numbers end in letter A and starboard end with Z. Any navigational tips you have found, please feel free to share those in the comments down below. Tip number 8 is budget for automatic gratuities. Okay, so let's talk money. Pretty much all the major cruise lines add daily tips to your onboard account. Some cruise lines call these gratuities, others call it onboard service charges. You're gonna see this run about $18 to maybe up to $25 per person per day, depending on the cruise line. And if you're in a suite, it's even higher. Royal Caribbean starts theirs at $18.50 per person per night. MSC is a little lower, $14.50 per person per night. On Carnival, Disney, Holland America, they're about $16 per person per night. Princess Cruises, they're $17 per person per night. Celebrity is gonna be $18 per person per night. And Norwegian's gonna be at kind of the top where they're $20 per person per night. Virgin Voyages is included in your cruise fare. So this money gets split between your room attendant, your dining staff, and the crew members working behind the scenes. You can either prepay this or have it added to your final bill. Don't tip twice for drinks and spa services. Here's a big one where I see new cruisers waste a ton of money. You're gonna buy a drink or get a massage, check your receipt. The cruise lines almost always add an 18 to 20% service charge right onto the bill automatically. But the receipt will have a blank line for additional tip. It tricks a lot of people into tipping twice. Now you can always add more for somebody who has been fantastic, but it's not required. My 10th tip is check your onboard account daily. You can pull up your running bill right from your cabin's TV or even on the cruise line's app. So you're gonna check this daily for any discrepancies and gauge how your spending is going. This way you can keep track of your spending so the end of the cruise is no surprise. Another pro tip here is settle your bill the night before disembarkation. This will save you a lot of issues and long lines on disembarkation morning. Tip number 11 is decide on a drink package before you board. The drink package, you've got to do the math on this one. If you're planning on drinking more than 5 drinks per day on board, it's probably gonna save you a little bit of money and a good option. If you drink less, it's not worth the money. Some cruise lines cap how many drinks they will let you enjoy per day. Carnival, Princess, Holland America, and MSC are all examples of cruise lines that will limit you to 15 drinks per person per day. Tip number 12 is bring small bills for extra tipping. So those automatic gratuities cover most of the crew, but I always like to bring a little stack of small bills, 1s, 5s, and even 10s. It's really appreciated by crew members who go above and beyond for you. It's a great for the porter who helps you with your bags at the port, for room service delivery, or for your tour guide on an excursion. My 13th tip is know that Wi-Fi is expensive. Man, let's talk about the Wi-Fi. It is slow, it is costly, but it's getting better than it's used to be. But don't expect that free fast connection that you get at hotels. They sell these packages for the whole cruise and they can easily cost you over $100. So if you can, just plan to disconnect your phone or use your phone's data when you're in the port. My 14th tip is prevent seasickness before it starts. Don't wait until you're already feeling sick. If you know you're someone who gets motion sickness, start taking your Dramamine before you even get on the ship. Sea-bands are also a great option if you don't want to take medication. And honestly, just getting enough sleep and staying hydrated makes a huge difference. Tip number 15 is choose a midship cabin. This is game changer if you're worried about feeling the ship move. The most stable part of the ship is going to be in the middle on the lower decks. You're going to feel the least amount of motion right there. The very front of the ship and the very back of the ship, especially the higher you go, is where you're going to really start to feel that movement. Booking midship can easily save your trip. All right, we're at the halfway point. So if you're finding these tips helpful and you want to make sure your first cruise is a total success, do me a quick favor, hit that subscribe button. I put out cruise content almost every week, and my whole goal is to help you travel easier, smarter, and more efficiently. Okay, let's get back to it. Tip number 16 is wash your hands consistently. With thousands of people all sharing the same space, cruise ships can get a little grimy. The most fun people on the ship have one goal: to get you to wash your hands. You know the ones, Mr. or Mrs. Washy Washy. One of the huge steps to preventing sickness on board is just washing your hands. Bring a small first aid kit, just a little pack with essentials, some pain relievers, band-aids, allergy medicine, and any prescriptions you have. Ships have a medical center if needed, but my son's seasickness once cost me $800. This could have been avoided if I just brought some Dramamine. Worst case, usually there are some stores on board that will have a few basics, but it is pretty basic and expensive, so be prepared. Tip number 18 is stay hydrated. Between the sun and the salt in the air and maybe a few too many cocktails, it's super easy to get dehydrated on a cruise. And being dehydrated can make you feel tired, give you headaches, and make seasickness even worse. This isn't going to be an enjoyable cruise, so you're going to want to drink a lot of water all day. So what I do is bring a reusable water bottle and just fill it up at the buffet anytime I walk by. Tip number 19 is skip the buffet on embarkation day. Here's a pro tip for you. The second people get on the ship, they all make a mad dash for the buffet. It's just chaos. Check the daily planner they give you at the port. A lot of times, one of the main dining rooms or another little cafe is open for lunch, and there are way fewer people. It is a much more relaxing way to kick off your vacation. Your cruise card is your life. That little key card or medallion they give you for your cabin, that thing is everything. It's your room key, it's your credit card for everything you want to buy, and it's your ID for getting on and off the ship. So you got to keep this safe. A lot of people wear it on a lanyard just for easy access. Tip number 21 is pack a USB charger. Cruise cabins are famous for having 2 outlets? It's not a lot. You can bring a multi-USB or USB-C adapter that plugs in. However, you are not allowed to bring multi-AC adapters, extension cords, or power strips, so you're definitely going to want to check with the cruise line's terms and conditions prior to your sailing to verify. Otherwise, items may and probably will get confiscated. Tip number 22 is the walls are metal. This is one of my favorite hacks. It's so simple. The walls and doors in most cruise ship cabins are metal. Magnets are your friend. Hooks with a strong magnet are great for hanging up lanyards, pool towels, and pretty much anything else. Also, the doors being magnetic is a great way to personalize your cabin. You see this a lot on Disney and some other cruise ships. It's an incredibly fun way to spruce up your vacation. Book shore excursions wisely. So for excursions, you can book them straight through the cruise line, or you can book them with independent companies in the port. Here's some tips though. Cruise ship tours that are guided tours, usually with a larger group, however. One big component, if the tour runs late, which has happened to me, the ship will wait. While independent tours, they are cheaper and usually smaller groups. However, there are risks associated that you need to be aware of. You could also do self-guided tours. These are okay in low risk areas. Have the most flexibility, however, you are completely on your own and it is your responsibility to be back to the ship on time. If not, catching up to the ship is on your own. No matter the choice, for peace of mind, I always like to be on the ship 1 hour prior to the all on board time, so keep that in mind. Tip number 24 is a spa is always cheaper on port days. If you want to get a spa treatment, look for those daily deals, especially on days when the ship is in port. With a large number of passengers off the ship, the spa is going to offer some more lucrative deals to lure in customers. Tip number 25 is download the cruise line's app before you board. The app is your best friend on the ship. I'm telling you, you can see the daily schedules, make dinner reservations, check your bill, or sometimes even message your friends on board. Download it at home before you leave so you're all set to go as soon as you get on the ship's Wi-Fi. Tip number 26 is you can bring your own wine. This is a really good one. Most cruise lines will let you carry on 1 or 2 bottles of wine per cabin when you board. Now, you might have to pay what they call a corkage fee. It's usually like $15 to $25 if you want to drink that wine in the main dining room, but you can enjoy it in your stateroom absolutely free. It is way cheaper than buying wine by the glass on the ship. Tip number 27 is pack a nightlight. If you booked an interior cabin with no window, it's pitch black when you turn out the lights. I'm not even kidding. A little plug-in nightlight makes it so much easier to find your way into the bathroom in the middle of the night in a room you're not used to. Tip number 28 is be nice to the crew. You've got to be nice to the crew. These people work incredibly hard for months and months at a time away from their families. A simple please and thank you goes such a long way. They're there to make your vacation amazing, and I found that treating them with a little bit of kindness often means you get even better service. Tip number 29 is don't try to do everything. These modern ships are like floating cities. They have activities that are packed from morning till night. It can be really tempting to try and do it all, but you're just going to end up exhausted. Remember, this is a vacation. Pick a few things you really want to do and make sure you schedule in some time to just sit by the pool, relax, and do nothing. Tip number 30 and my final one is prepare for disembarkation. While not popular, it's the last morning when you have to get off the ship, and this can be a little stressful. You'll have to be out of your cabin pretty early and they'll give you a set time to leave. I'd say pack up most of your things the night before, keep a change of clothes with you, and go have one last breakfast. And whatever you do, don't book a super early morning flight. Give yourself a little bit of time, at least 5 to 6 hours, to get through customs and travel to the airport. It'll make your morning a whole lot easier. So there you have it, 30 of my best tips after spending over 150 days at sea. Cruising is a fantastic way to see the world, and with just a little bit of prep, your first time can be absolutely incredible. The biggest mistakes I see people make, almost always just from not knowing what to expect, but now you do. You're officially ready. Thank you so much for watching. What's the one tip you found most useful? Or your biggest question that you still have about cruising? Drop it in the comments down below. I'll read them and answer any questions you've got. And hey, if you like cruise reviews, advice, tours, definitely hit that subscribe button. And in a small world, travel's large.